Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video, and in today's video we're going to be going over the white cards in the set 1 of the Alpha Class TCG, kind of give some ratings, have some fun, just kind of give you like an overall thought of each card and the color, and hopefully give you a better idea of what cards you should be playing, kind of what cards you should look out for, and just things of that nature. So if you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe at the end of the video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. If you're a long-standing member, I appreciate y'all as well. Feel free to check out the Patreon Discord down below, where we have access to a great community both for Flesh and Blood and Alpha Clash and other games. So also, if you see this noir-looking background, it's late at night. I have some people sleeping in my home, so I'm trying to be respectful of that. But so if you have the purple cool background, it's just for these couple of videos while I'm recording here late at night. So yeah, we'll get right into it. So I did this for black, and I basically went through every card, and I categorized them into auto-include, staple, tech card, and need support. So for white, I added a just okay category, which means it's not like a staple or an auto-include. It's just like okay. Like you can add it. It's not going to make your deck insanely better, but it's also not going to make your deck worse, right? And I wanted to add that because the auto-include, for anyone that's not aware, and I'll kind of go over these really quick, auto-include means like this literally never comes out of the deck. I don't care what type of deck you're playing. I don't care what color you're splashing. This card is going in. A staple means it might not always be in the deck, but it is a staple. I know that's kind of like a splitting hairs with auto-include and staple, but to me, staple means like it is a very consistent card, but there might be some archetypes within that color that don't run it potentially. Just okay is like, okay, you might see it in some decks, you might not. It's neither here nor there. Then you have tech card, which is like it says, like you're teching against another deck. So it's a card that specifically comes in certain matchups, and then needs support, which means the card's not necessarily bad. It just needs more support. I don't have a bad category. I think it's kind of dumb to do that in set 1 because some of these cards are obviously probably being made for the future. And so because of that, like it's not a bad card. It's just a card that's going to be used later in their lore or their other sets. So we'll get right into it. As you can see in the top right above me, or yeah, top right of your screen, I have a blown up image of each card as I talk about it, so you can kind of see it a little bit easier if you're not familiar with all the cards. And they should go in order if I did it correctly. So we'll get right into it. So the first one is Clarity's 1911. I'll put each card in the middle to start. It's a 1-drop, costs you 1 white mana. You attach it for 1 as well, and attached clash card gets 1/1. So this card's interesting. I think this card is a staple. So this card, I'm going to put it, this is already really hard. I'm going to put it in just okay. It's a good card. I think this card is actually better in other decks, right? I think it's good in black for Moxie, right? If you want to do a black-white Moxie control list or like more slower-based list, I think this card is very, very good for that. But in a like a monocolored white Clarity deck, it might not be the best option for you, right? So right now it's just okay. I think it's a 1/1. It only costs 1 to play. If you're playing like more of a black-white build in either Clarity or Moxie, I think it fits really well, and it probably moves up to staple. But in a vacuum, I think it's just okay. And then let's see if I actually did this right. We did. Let's go. Ancient Protection. So send target accessory to the Oblivion. This is a very good card, and it's a card I think will be in almost most every sideboard, 1 or 2 or 3 of for Clarity or for white in general. But it's really good because it's accessory hate, right? It's really good against Moxie. It's really good against other accessories in the game. Even I think Magnate has a few, Clarity has a few, right? So it's good against that, but it's not something you're going to need to run per se in your main board. So I think it is a tech card. Tech cards could also be classified as sideboard cards, so keep that in mind when I put stuff in the tech category. But I think Ancient Protection's very good card. It's a 2 cost removal for accessories, but I think it's not something you're going to put in a main board white deck, in my opinion. So that's kind of where we have that. And then I just got to make sure these actually switch. Okay, then we have Cowling. Trigger enter. You may reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. If you do, you may add an accessory with an initial resource cost of 4 or less, which is pretty high, among them to your hand. Then put the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is a tutor, or not a tutor, but a reveal top 4. Like just go grab and get an accessory card. This is extremely good in black-white Moxie. It's also good in Clarity if you're trying to get certain accessories out. I think it is a staple. I think it's going to be ran in a lot of decks. I don't think it's an auto-include per se, but it definitely is a staple for sure as time goes on, whether you're doing monocolor or not. Here, let's back this up 1 for y'all. Whether you're doing monocolor or not, I think this is something that's going to be consistently used and really strong. Then we have our next card, which is Clairvoyance. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put 1 into your hand, then the rest on top of your deck in any order. So this is really good. This is literally, not only do you get to pick a card from the top 5 of your deck, but you also get to stack your next 4 cards. So you get to basically pick your next 4 draws. Super, super powerful card. I think it's a staple. I don't think you run a lot of them. I think it's a 1 or a 2 of personally, but I do think it's a staple card. It's just too good, especially in Clarity, who already does this really, really well. I think it's just really, really smart. You're basically able to pick your next turn's draw. Just overall, really good card. Nothing too much to say about that. A lot of these white cards are very simple. White, in my opinion, is the strongest mono color in set 1. So because of that, I think that it's pretty simple to know what's good and bad. Next one is Clarify. It's an 8 cost, costs 3 white mana specifically. It has Unrivaled, which only 1 card of this is allowed in your deck, so obviously it's going to be very powerful. Take control of Alpha Clash card an opponent controls and put it into your Clash zone ready. If you control a Haven or Clarity Clash card, you may reduce the resource cost of this by 2. So 2 white. So it costs only 1 white. By the way, it reads if you have a Haven and a Clarity card in play, and basically you steal an opponent's card, and that's really, really powerful if you start getting late game. This is an 8 cost, so basically the way I look at it is you're taking one of their 7 or 8 costs and you're putting it on your deck, right? So if you're playing a Moxie, you can steal their Moxie fully loaded, right? Or you can steal their Magnate undisputed, right? Or Moxie fully loaded is not Alpha Clash card, so you can't steal that. Sorry, apologies. You can steal a Magnate undisputed, or even a big Mean Streak card, stuff like that. So there are really powerful Alpha Clash cards in set 1, so I think it is really good. Whether it's a staple or not, like the card, I think its card's a staple because it's too powerful not to be. I don't know if it's an auto-include. Not every deck might not be trying to run this, but I think it's too powerful not to put as an auto-include for set 1 right now. I think you just run this as like a 1 of. Maybe a 2 of, but probably a 1 of. It just depends on what type of Clarity you're running. Because I think this is only ran Clarity decks, obviously, in my opinion. Maybe a 1 of. I'm going to keep it as an auto include because the effect's just too powerful not to do that. I think it's kind of dumb if you don't. So we'll keep it there. But I'm really not sure about that card. I'm really not sure because right now, the limited amount I've played in paper so far is, and even on Tabletop Simulator, most games, in my opinion, go 5 to 7 turns. I'd say 6 to 7 is probably the sweet spot. 8 is starting to get up there. Like you're really starting. 8's like slightly on the long game side. I have been in games that were 8, 10 turns long, 10 plus turns long, but I'd say a majority of games, especially against like a Boom Torque or even against a Magnate deck, go like 6 to 7 turns. So you're starting to really get up there, which is why I think you only run a 1 or a 2 of this card. Next one is Clarity's Dagger. Attach, costs 1 to attach, costs 3 to play. Attached Clash card gets 1/1. Trigger, or 3/1, sorry. Trigger, enter your contender gains 1 health. This card can only be attached to a Clarity Clash card. So this card, I wish it was more playable in Moxie. This card's so good. It would be so good in Moxie, but if we're not talking about Moxie, right, just in general, it's a 3 cost, 3/1 buff that gains you a health. I think it's really good. I put it in staple. It's not like a crazy high staple. I think it's on the low end of staple, but it's definitely not just okay. I think it's a good card. But you could put it in need support if you wanted to, not because the card's not good, but because I think if there becomes more of a weapons-based white build with a lot of Clarity cards, then you might start to have more synergy. Because the Moxie's first ability is you may attach more than one weapon to Alpha Hunter Clash cards. So if you run a lot of Clarity cards in a Moxie deck, you're not going to be able to take advantage of that ability, right? So you could run Clarity's Dagger, but you'd have to run Clarity cards, which then don't play into your first ability. So I do think it actually might be need support. I'm going to put it need support, but it definitely could be a staple. I'm just going to say need support because I think a Clarity weapons build needs a little bit more support because right now these are the only 2. Yeah, they're the only 2. So until there's more support for that, I think that it needs support. But that's just me. But if you put it in staple, I wouldn't argue with you. Next one is Detroit. This card's so good for what they want to do. It's auto-include, not because there's only 2 Clash Grounds for white in the set, but because the card's just bonkers. Rogue Clash cards get 0/1. Enter each player may reveal the top 3 cards of their deck. If you do, you may put a non-clash card with an initial resource cost of 3 or less among them into your hand. Then put the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. Again, it's an op mechanic. It gives you more defense. Clarity. The reason it's so good is because Clarity is a slower deck. She wants to play for the long game, not to the level of Moxie, but she wants to outvalue her opponent turn over turn, time over time. And what this does is it makes your Havens a 1/3, right? Which is really good. It makes your cards like it makes your other rogue cards, like your other Clarity cards, like a 2/3. It just gives them a lot more defense, which really helps. And when with Clarity really being able, and even your lens are really important to give that one defense too. I think it's really good just to help her last a little bit longer. And being able to do anything that she can do to opt, like this is basically a 1-cost opt 3. Pick a card, initial non-clash card that's cost 3 or less, which means you can go get, a Clarity's Dagger or a 1911. You could go get another different non-clash card from another card that you're splashing. You could go get a trap card, things of that nature. So I think it's really, really good. It also, you can even go get her other Clash Ground if you see it, which is really nice. So I think it's auto-include, one, because of Clash Ground limitations right now, but I think the card's just really good for what Clarity specifically wants to do in white. So I'd put it as an auto-include. Next one's Earthly Barricade. Counterattack, choose target clash card you control. Prevent the next 2 clash damage that would be dealt to it. Then your contender gains 2 health. I think this is really just okay. It could be put as a tech card if you're playing a certain archetype. I think it's really good for like a hyper control Clarity build, or just any build, like being able to choose a target clash card you control, prevent the next 2 damage, so maybe you avoid it dying, and then you gain 2 health. Like, it could be good in a really hyper control build, but I want to see someone build that life gain control, because so far I haven't seen it yet. The game's only been out a little bit, but even before the game came out, people were playing on Tabletop Simulator and stuff. I haven't seen anybody try like a life gain Clarity. People are normally just trying to outvalue with Havens and with like late game foreseeing fates and things like that. But I haven't seen anyone like go heavy into control with Clarity yet, at least not in my opinion. So until then, that's kind of where that's at. Next one's Clarity Foreseeing Fate. This card's bonkers. It's auto-include. It's exclusive. Only 1 copy of this card can be in your control at a time. It has trigger enter. You either choose alpha or rogue cards. Either alpha clash cards you control get up 2/0 buffed until the end of turn, or rogue clash cards you control get 2/0 buffed to the end of turn, which is basically Clarity's whole deck. Once per turn during your primary phase, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck. If you do, add one of them to your hand and put the other on the bottom of your deck. So this basically allows you to draw 2 cards a turn as long as it's on the field. Really, really good, right? Because you're going to get your draw from your turn and then draw from this. Like, it's just so good. It gives your cards a buff for a turn. It's a 4/5 at 6, which isn't bad. Just really, really good. Like, giving your board a wide buff for 1 turn and then being able to draw 2 turn over turn is really, really good. Auto-include. Pretty simple. Next one's Grand Park Chicago. It's auto-include just because of Clash Ground limitations, but it's also really good. Alpha and rogue cards get 0/2. This does affect a little bit of your opponent in a bad way. You don't want your opponent to almost have this sometimes, because in set 1, 3 out of 5 of the contenders are alphas, so this is going to affect a large majority of your matchups and give them also 2 defense, which isn't good. But it says you may search your deck for 1 clash card with initial resource cost of 5 or less, reveal it, and shuffle your decks. Basically anything but Clarity Foreseeing Fate for the most part you can go grab, which is really nice. The tutor is really good. Like, you play this for the tutor and the extra defense, because most of the time with a rogue deck, like a rogue class deck, having extra defense benefits you more than your opponent, more times than not. So yes, even though 3 out of 5 of your contender opponents in set 1 are going to be affected positively by this card, being able to tutor a card like a 5-drop a Lin and go get a 5/5 Lin and make her a 5/7 is really, really good with flight, right? And we'll get to her in a minute. Just really, really good card, and because of that, it's auto-include. Then we have Haven, Hide in Plain Sight. Auto-include just does everything that Clarity wants to do and White wants to do. It's a 1/2/2 drop, so it has really good defense. It has good synergy with your Clash Grounds. And then when it comes in, you can either gain 2 health or draw a card. Draw power is so crucial in this game right now. It's so powerful in set 1. So being able to do that, or gain 2 health if you want to, and have a 1/2 blocker at 2 drop is just super good. Not much to say about that other than it's good. Shadow Light Beam needs support. I'm actually just going to go ahead and ahead of time put both of these need support until we see a Shadow Light like support as a contender. There's not much you can do. It's a counterattack. Prevent all damage that would be dealt during this clash. Then your contender gains 2 health. Again, maybe someone puts this into like a hyper control deck, but a 3 cost like prevent all clash damage. If this said prevent all clash damage to your contender, gain 3 health, this actually be super, super good. Excuse me. I've had a little bit under the wire, so I had to take a sip. I apologize. If it was a prevent all clash damage that you're being dealt, not like everyone being dealt, then it would be really good. But because it also prevents their character from dying, their clash card from dying, I think it just needs support until we really see that hyper control thing-esque gameplay come in. Lyn the Nanite Warrior, I think this card's really good. I think it's a staple. It's a 2/3 with interception, right? It can block flyers, and it has close combat, which is really good. A lot of people against Clarity, from what I think I'm seeing, is they're going to try to get their big bodies down and or buy their time till they can get their big bodies down, not really overextend on you. And this basically forces the issue, right? You can attack cards that are not engaged, which is really, really nice. I think it's a good, solid staple. It's searchable with a lot of your tutor effects. Just a really solid card overall. And Lyn Adaptable Fighter also, I want to put this in auto include simply because of its synergy with Grand Park Chicago. Like the fact that Grand Park Chicago says you may search your deck for 1 clash card with an initial resource cost of 5 or less, and the fact that you can just go get a 5-drop Lyn and have it is really, really nice, right? Like you play Grand Park Chicago and you basically just go get your second most powerful attack in your deck and add it to your hand for your next turn. So really, really good. In super late game, you can even play it, right, if you have 8 resources. So really, really good card. I think it's an auto include for sure. Then we have Morale Boost. It's a clash buff. It's auto include. Not going to really go any more depth on that. Warcry is just okay. It's a 2-drop, 2/2. Same thing with Clarity, right? For a fight, a 2/1 1-drop is nice because of the added extra offense, but it's really just a plain vanilla static card. Shadowlight we already talked about. Warcry Sign of Hope is a 3-cost breakthrough, which means any attacking clash card this attacking clash card deals excessive damage to the opponent's contender if it was blocked. So basically, like if it's attacking for 4 at the contender and someone chooses to block it with like a 1/1, it'll still deal 3 damage to the contender, right? This one's just okay. It's just good. It can get buffed by Foreseen Fate, which is nice. This becomes, a 6/2 with Breakthrough, which is really good. But it's just kind of like an okay card. Until these contenders be supported in Warcry and Shadowlight, there's not a whole lot of room for them, in my opinion. The next one we have is Spiritual Defense. Spiritual Defense reads, counterplay. You may activate this trap if a clash card being played with initial resource cost of 2 or less. When this card enters play, it gets 1/1 until end of turn. This is really good to just kill a 1/1 that they try to put down for 1 cost. I think it's good. I think it's just okay, though. Like, maybe it's a staple if you want to play like more control. You do like 1 or 2 of these. I think it's like a low-level staple. Then you have Clarity, the Clairvoyant one. It's a 2/3 4-drop. Trigger, enter, your contender gains 1 health. Then you may reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. If you do, you may add 1 clash card with an initial resource cost of 2 or less from among them into your hand. Put the remaining into your Oblivion. I don't like this card. I'm just going to put it in the just okay because there's no bad cards. I don't like cards that force me to put cards in the Oblivion. Like if I play this and I reveal let's just say a 3-drop Lyn and 2 of my Clarity Foreseen Fates, that's the biggest feel bad in the world. Or if I reveal 2 Clash buffs and a Clairvoyance. Like, I don't like, especially with Clarity, who can play late game and you're actually going to see a second cycle when you bottom cards. I don't want to see this card where I put things in Oblivion. It's the same reason why I don't like Moxie Primal Hunt or Rave or Hunt, Moxie Rave or Hunt, because I don't like putting cards in the Oblivion. I don't like forcefully discarding cards unless I have a way to get them back. And in this game, there's not a ton of ways to get them back right now, so I really don't like the card. Haven's auto-include with the other Havens. Both the Haven package in general is just auto include. It's a 1/2 1-drop. Having 2 defense at 1-drop is insane in this game, and being able to draw a card. So it replaces itself and it has extra defense. No other card in the game at 1-drop does this. Every other inner 1-drop that draws a card is a 1/1. So it's auto include. And then this is who you are for 3-drop. It's a counterattack. Target attacking clash card with an initial resource cost of 3 or more gets -4, -0 until end of turn, and you may draw a card. So this can help save you in a certain time. It's just okay. I don't really like it too much because it is a 3-drop. I don't know. It's a little interesting. Maybe you run like 1 or 2 of these. I think it's just okay, and it kind of goes to the top. So like if I start to order these, right, it probably goes like this. Like this. Yeah. Like that. But that's kind of where I put this. But yeah, this is my initial thoughts on white. Definitely, like, these are some of your key cards. Your clash grounds are really important, obviously. I think Clarify is really good. Clarity for CM Fate and the 5-drop Lin are your best attacks in white by far. Your clash buff's good, and then your Haven package. Like, these 5 cards right here, it's like if I had to put it in order, obviously, are like some of your most important cards, these 5. And I think they're like what you help build the deck around. Haven's your early game package that survives and helps you keep card draw and consistency. And then you look to put these 2 cards down, put the Lin down through Grand Park, and then put Clarity for Sea and Fate down by using your resources properly and basically stacking your deck to where you can draw it faster. So overall, I really like this deck. I really like this color. It's the strongest color in set 1 in my opinion by far. Not by far, but pretty consistent, like mono color. I think it's the strongest deck. This color promotes smart players and good players because of the op mechanic, because of gaining life, because of like board state and value management. I think it's really good for that. So definitely something to take a look at as you're getting into the game. White's really good. It's white is for the pure TCG player, like, that plays a lot and knows how to assess value and assess board state and assess like points of the game. So let me know what your thoughts are. If you disagree with any of these, I'd love to know. I'm not saying like the all-seeing person here, just my initial thoughts to try to point you in like a decently right direction based off my play, and would love to get your thoughts on it. But if you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you're brand new to the channel, again, thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.